And the thing is that you always overlook stupid things. And that's
Like
that's not
different
because
currencies.
you're stupid, but it's just like so much.
What's up, everyone? Another episode of the Marketing Measurement Matters podcast. We just made it in time. Just got an SD card for a roadcaster. Tim went down to buy one because we thought we were missing one, and then we looked into our reserves and we actually found one. So great stuff. We are going to talk about your
Agentic
carnival
measurement.
experience. Yes.
Yeah.
No, not about the carnival
Or
experience.
we can just follow me on LinkedIn. You can read everything about it.
Yeah, we are going to talk about agentic measurement, and that's it's a very hyped term. Of course, everything with agentic implies that it's agentic AI, not just agentic. But would you be keen, maybe you, Mr. Krankamp, to give us an introduction what that term even means and what we can hope to achieve with making stuff agentic in measurement? And we also have some details that we kind of show and how we at Funnel look at it, but maybe kind of an abstract so that everyone that is listening in can kind of understand what they would be able to expect from this.
Yeah. So thanks for the introduction, Janosch. And agentic measurement is a hot topic right now since everyone wants to be doing something agentic. I think by now most people have seen this meme going around on LinkedIn of the one CEO who said he replaced all the loading states in the product with thinking, and now it's an agentic startup.
Wow.
So it is a hot topic, and there's definitely a lot of confusion going around. But so first, I think we just have to unwrap two things here. So what is measurement, which we've talked about quite a bit in this show. So we talk, of course, about marketing measurement and trying to infer some kind of causal signal from our marketing data. So we're trying to establish a cause and effect relationship between marketing input, sales output, and normally we are doing so using some kind of blend of incrementality testing, most notably marketing mix modeling, and maybe also we utilize some other forms of attribution like MTA or platform whatnot. So that's measurement. And then what is the agentic part and why does that make so much sense? So of course it's a hot topic, but why would we actually want to do that? And so first of all, what's an AI agent? And essentially agentic AI just goes a little bit beyond large language models and essentially means that you also give the AI or the LLM tools in order for it to actually perform some actions. And so that is
what could these tools be? Like, is it actual physical tools or? No, I'm just like
a hammer and a nail.
So I think we get there eventually. But right now we obviously mean mostly digital tools.
Yeah.
But this could be something as simple as a calculator. Or as complex as a completely full-fledged marketing mix modeling workflow.
But would a web search also be?
Web search is also a tool.
Okay.
Yeah. Generally, searching in some kind of database, of course, is a tool.
Connecting your Google Drive to ChatGPT.
Is also a tool, and of course,
I of course know all of this. I'm just asking the question so that the audience
Yes, and in more mundane applications, it could be something else like booking appointments for the hairdresser or booking flights.
How does it? Yeah, I was just gonna ask, like, how does this use case work in your view? Booking flights, just book me a whole trip from to Zanzibar. And
it's not that great. Tim,
and you would expect it would work, right?
Nah, I think it does work. I mean, we talked about it a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think it would work if you would have very generic and non-specific ideas or requirements. But I mean, for my case, it was like I wanted to go somewhere.
Okay, but I give you this. Like, we
Hamburg
fly to Stockholm regularly for reasons because our HQ is there, and it's always the same stuff. Like, look for the cheapest of these 3, 4, 5 hotels which are very close to office. Fly, these are the flights. No, it didn't work. Like, it literally didn't work. It didn't even come up with the flights that we would find on Skyscanner. Or
what did you use?
I did try ChatGPT and Gemini. Both didn't work.
But I mean,
perplexity.
We can only hypothesize why this is not working so great. But I think you're touching on a very important point. So of course we can give the AI tools, but we need to be able for the AI or the agent to be able to decide properly which tool to use. And for that we need proper tool descriptions and a tool. What is a tool?
Instructions.
But the tool mostly is an API in our case, right? Mostly we provide access to some API, but then what we actually need is we need a proper description of what this API does, what the arguments are, and how the agent is supposed to use it. we always still have to think of any kind of AI as a very hardworking, a very enthusiastic, but not particularly
very,
intelligent
very
intern.
stupid person.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, in the end, it's like you have to write proper work instructions, right? This is exactly how you have to do it. This is what you do first. This is what you do next. If this happens, then this. So, I mean, in the end, it's a proper prompt, right? It's not like you can tell
Exactly.
the AI, hey, there's a marketing mix model. Give me all the information, because why should it know that? How?
Yeah, exactly. But maybe taking a step back and thinking about why would people actually want to do agentic measurement. So we all know that marketing measurement is not the easiest task. It's not particularly easy to automate. And while recently there have been quite a few companies doing that, still a lot of human involvement, consulting effort, all of that involved, right? So it sounds natural, of course, to try and automate that using AI. But it's probably also not going to be super easy, right? So maybe question back to you guys: where do you think the challenges would lie in this, and where would you start?
I think where I would start. I mean, we talked about this with one of your AI engineers a few weeks ago.
Checker, yeah.
Yeah, Checker. I would really start with put the data in you have, and then let the agent tell you, this is good, this is enough. You can do this with it. You are still missing this kind of data. Your data is wrong in these areas. So really the first big step, and not even anything much. Well, you can do a lot more things later on, but I think this would be the one that, from my point of view, would help a lot of people to actually understand what they need to do, and not having back and forth discussions with you guys all the time. Oh, this is great, but this Excel file is formatted in German notation. We can't use it because it's not UTF-8 or some kind of bullshit like that.
Exactly. Funny enough, Tim, that is exactly where we started. Yeah. So fortunately, as everything we do is based on the Funnel Data Hub, we don't have that problem anymore with the wrongly formatted Excel file. But of course, we have we built a lot of EDA, exploratory data analysis functionality, for people to do quality checks on the marketing mix modeling data. But what happened is, of course, that there's so much to look at that things just tend to get overlooked. So instead, what we did is we gave all the EDA tools to an AI agent, and then have it run the exploratory data analysis and put out a neat report.
And maybe just to add, that's not an optional step. Like if you want to do MMM or any sort of data science project, you kind of have to do the preparatory analysis.
Yeah, if you don't, it's shit in, shit out. Like
many
people do nowadays. But
many might just let the LLM solve it. And so the EDA is, at least, and definitely for the MMM, very essential part, and quite time consuming also, right? It's not... Well,
how long does it take?
The thing is that you always overlook stupid things, and that's not because you're stupid, but it's just like so much.
Yeah.
So we always had the thing that. So imagine people actually have a solid media taxonomy, which is great already,
but and unlikely.
But imagine they have it, and they actually put in some work to put this on funnel. So they have all kinds of different channels in all kinds of different markets, and the channels are named the same way, which is great. That's amazing. Yeah, but of course you don't have always the same channels in every country.
No.
So you look at one country like Germany, and you have TikTok, and then you create a variable that's called TikTok, and then the variable appears in another country, but it's just always 0. Yeah. And that tends to get overlooked when people try to copy over blueprints from one market to the other. Already they're really diligent, but imagine you have like 10 markets and 30 variables or 20 variables in each of these markets. So like that's 600 ways to overlook things. Yeah. So that happens all the time.
And then it's also about the sort of action items that follow from EDA. If you, for example, see that the Polish TV data is based on zloty or whatever the currency is instead of euro.
But that would actually be my first question. I mean, the data hub is usually used by people for digital data, right? That's usually there. And I think your EDA or your LLM doing the EDA is probably putting out quite often, hey, do you have TV data? Hey, do you have print data? Hey, do you have out-of-home data?
It's not asking for things that are not there currently. It's more like, but that's actually a good idea to kind of do a completeness survey in terms of do you have...
Does it make sense to build a marketing mix model for your kind of company with this data?
So that's what is currently it's doing currently things like it's looking at red flags. Do
Yeah.
we have enough spend? Do we
very
have
good, yeah.
zero inflation? So
And
zero
zloty
inflation means you have
versus euros.
Exactly. Do the values make sense? Are there some unrealistic spikes?
Never happened
that
at
sort of
Freenode that suddenly the Polish revenue was much higher than anyone expected.
Nice.
Never.
Yeah, I don't recall any troubles we ever had with currency conversion.
Never,
that
ever.
was-
No, for example, and definitely not with services that provide daily updated currency rates.
Yeah,
You know,
that
who I'm
never
talking
happens.
to, yeah, but
Yeah,
it
but,
never
but
happens.
the best is when you have something like US dollar, pounds, or euros, and you never realize that there's really a mistake.
Yeah.
Takes like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
that's
it's
it.
such an advantage if you're a US player only.
Yeah.
Large market, no currency, MAPs, but yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
whatever. So that's where we started. And basically we are kind of leveraging it's not even really intelligence. It's more that you have something which is borderline intelligence, which just doesn't overlook things.
Yeah.
Doesn't get tired.
It's just someone doing diligent work which no one wants to do.
Exactly. Diligent, boring work.
Yeah. Flies up.
And how is that different? And again, I know the answer to that, but I'm still just asking. How is that different from very sophisticated group of if-then-else statements with like large,
Yeah, the
large
problem with
database
the
behind it?
if-then-else statements is that you always overlook something as well. Now you start overlooking things in the if-then-else statements.
But to be honest, it's not that different, right? It's doing pretty much the same thing. It just knows all the if and else statements.
Yeah.
It's
just a more efficient way.
Most of them.
And you don't have to explicitly program them.
Yeah.
And,
It can handle unexpected situations marginally better,
Yeah.
of course, and that's good. It also processes nice output, which can also sometimes be quite helpful, just in order for people to actually start thinking about that data.
Yeah. Should we?
Yes, show. I want to show. See what
No,
looks
it's not software or anything. It's just like a diagram on how we think about this right now. I don't know. Should I show it?
Yeah,
And then
please
you
go
can
ahead.
explain it.
I can't see it right now, Janos. But,
Yeah. So
none of us can. Just Janos.
but that's
Well,
fine.
and
Maybe
my-
he can explain.
And my eyes are
I can
too
explain
bad.
it as well.
Yeah.
I love to explain it. Let me see if this is being shown now. Yeah.
Yeah,
seems
you
like
can
it.
Yeah, there we are. That's all right. I mean, you can put it in the full
yeah, you
presentation.
Can I
can
put it
press
in
slideshow, yeah.
presentative mode?
Yeah,
Ah,
because it's just
even
in the
better.
browser.
Yeah.
Amazing. So we spoke about the automated EDA, and that's already in place. So
That is in place, and then we can decide on the model structure, and that agentically created model structure
and that
we also have there.
saves a lot of time in the department that is usually doing the measurement consultants. as of
Exactly.
now, right?
So of course we had a default model generation process before, but that relied on a lot of if-then-else statements. Wasn't great, and then people would always start building their graphs mostly from scratch. And now they have this AI-generated template, which is maybe 95%, 99% there. So they just make like one or two small changes, or maybe they even go with the AI-generated model setup.
This is the second step where the results from the EDA are being then used to decide on the model structure.
Quick question in between. I mean, you said that it saves a lot of time for the solution managers on your side, but it also saves massive amount of times for the people for the customers.
Right now, most of our customers are not self-serving themselves. So we
Okay.
have a few, and we're expanding on that.
Yeah.
But mostly, what's happening is that our measurement consultants save our customers
Okay.
time.
Yeah, good.
And now we want to save our measurement consultants time, and then obviously at some point we want all of everyone to interact more with the AI,
Which also benefits the customer for sure.
which benefits the customer, but maybe they can also then do it themselves.
Yeah,
Because it's just
exactly.
so much more
And no
easy.
back and forth. They can just do this.
Exactly.
And of course, the whole idea behind this is shorter time to enjoyment, so the client sees their insights much faster.
And enjoyment, yeah.
Enjoyment.
Who enjoys
That's a product management.
It's a great KPI.
Yeah.
Uh,
Time to
But
enjoy.
customer success.
We used to talk about that. At
We
Sting
like
all the
to, we
time.
like to
Yeah.
call
Use
it
time to enjoyment. Yeah,
time to insight.
yeah.
Shorter
Time to insight. Yeah.
Shorter time to
But I
insight.
like time to enjoyment better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but then this process is producing a report card. What does this report card
So this
entail?
report card essentially is, at some point in an ideal world, the agent could do everything and just come out with the results. But now we have a report card. Why do we have a report card? Because we want some observability, we want some traceability, and we want some context, and we want this whole thing to be less like a black box. So essentially, this report card, you can completely disregard it. You can just use the model structure that was proposed, but you can have a look at that report card and actually see why the AI took certain decisions. So you'll have something in there like social media channel was excluded because it only has 5,000 euros in spend and only was active on 5 days. Things like that. It's rather verbose, so it's not just tables, also a bit of text, mostly tables, but it gives you a lot of insights into why the model was set up in a specific way. And maybe that actually gets you start to think, because of course it might be that the thing says, well, social media is excluded because you only had $1,500 in spend over 10 days. And you say, but I know that I just ran a $1.9 million campaign over the last 8 weeks in social media.
Where is that?
Where is that spent? Maybe I just forgot to connect the data source.
Yeah.
So that is really supposed to get you started to think first, but then also to kind of foster trust and transparency in that whole process.
Yeah.
Because again, this stuff is all new. AI, as we all know, it can also make mistakes. So maybe you don't want to blindly trust it just yet. So we're building as much as we can. We're building observability and traceability, like a paper trail. Basically, we're building that into the.
Should I show an example of that, or is it too detailed?
I think that's a bit too.
Okay.
Unless Tim really is
No.
really keen to see it, so.
I mean, for me, it's also like this is like that's perfect because it also helps a lot to make the customer understand what's happening, even if I do this as a consultant, because usually marketing mix modeling is magic, right? And no one knows why. And if you have like this nice,
so that is not the exact report card. That is the thinking trace of the agent that we also log in.
I'm not sharing this right now. Do you want me to share this?
Yeah, do share it.
Do
share it.
It's good.
Everyone wants to know how our AI agent thinks. Everyone wants to be in their brain.
So here it's performing the EDA. Then further EDA, it shows us kind of which function it's calling. This coming back to this point. What is actually agentic about it? It's able to call different Python functions, not actual physical tools yet.
Exactly, and of course we are logging all that stuff in order for us to develop and debug it, but also to later on go back and analyze what was actually
and this I find really interesting. This coming back to what you just said. So here it says it has found some robustness features already. So of course we'll it's not just the agentic AI somehow miraculously learning about this stuff. We're feeding in a lot of information through RAG, for example. And here it's for example it has a geometric ad stock for TV, display, and brand. Logistic regression, yada yada yada. Actual looking at the
saturation.
And then it makes an observation. For example, it looks at paid social prospecting, which is it understands that it's an upper funnel channel, but then also sees that it not having an ad stock should be can be a problem and should be true for prospecting. So it's suggesting to add this sort of robustness features. And I think in the second part here, it then says paid social prospecting, upper funnel, but missing ad stock should be true. These are this is kind of, is it the report card? No, it's just the trace.
That's the thinking trace.
Thinking trace. So and then it would add the, it actually suggests just change here and implements it. I would assume.
Yes, and then we probably need the agent and I need to discuss whether a digital feature should really have ad stock, and if so, how much. But it's something a human may have suggested as well.
Yeah, and then this could all be put out in the chat, and then the modeler kind of, or the human modeler working with this and decide making like.
You can always override this. Yeah.
But it's kind of like I would think of it as almost like for the expert mode as a pair programming situation where you don't need an actual second engineer or data scientist, which we all know are quite expensive to get and hard to retain. But you could work with the agent here instead and save some bucks. And maybe the agent also doesn't overlook anything because
it's your little helper that stops you from overlooking things. Because honestly, if you do this for 8 hours a day and you look at all these variables, all these models, all these combinations, all the things that go wrong,
all been there.
And it's always so nice for anyone who kind of criticizes that work to obviously spot what went wrong. But if you're in the
sexiest job of the 21st century, definitely.
But really mean again, right? Because you again automate something that was a great data science job before.
Yeah, but it was always also the part that people didn't like about
I know. But I mean, maybe data scientists in the future are not that important anymore. More like ML engineers.
Or maybe actual data scientists.
Prompt engineers.
Actual data,
data scientists and not glorified glorified data engineers, but that are not so good at their jobs. So
Okay, but then coming back to this process here, so we went to all these suggestions, the report card, but then the human in the loop actually decides on which model, or basically decides on the right graph to use and pushes go on the
Exactly.
on
So-
the training and or the experience where different models are being trained.
Exactly. And I mean, we can set this up in different ways, but what many people will probably want to be doing is just run a lot of different models in parallel, and then have the agent come back with a suggestion or comparison, model critique, validation, whatever.
Yeah.
And then essentially what they want to do is they just want to be mostly involved in the last step of picking, choosing the final model.
Yeah.
And then they're good.
Which is here the based on the your
Step 6.
step 6.
Or as we like to call it, the orange card.
I don't like.
I can't see what it
I
was
don't like the
written there
color
from here.
orange, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's very easy. You do twice green, then blue, twice green again, and then you end on orange.
And the green ones are something things where you don't have to do anything, right? Because that's all done by the agent.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
a
it's
funnel
like
color.
Agent cards.
it's like you're baking something.
Yeah.
It's in the oven, but you don't need to do anything.
Let's quickly talk about this agent architecture that we currently, and we, by the way, we feel very comfortable talking about this openly because it's going to change significantly and going to be enhanced quite a bit in the next couple of weeks, month, anyhow. But this is, I think it's just interesting to see how a company like us are thinking about it and actually already having this implemented, because there's a lot of talk about like how useful is this stuff actually really, and how many people are saving how much money with it. This is actually a game changer for us and will allow us to service this advanced measurement stack to many more clients.
Exactly, because measurement consultants will be able to just service many more clients at the same time.
Yes. So, do you want to quickly explain that?
I cannot read it from here, even if I come like this. So
there's
much better. Yeah. So we have, and that's probably going to be very similar for a lot of different agentic applications. But you're going to have some orchestration agent, which is essentially, I think Shekhar like to call this agent the team lead, as if it would be a human team. But
it even looks like an org
the
chart.
lead data scientist.
The lead data scientist. But essentially, what this agent trying to do is that it tries to understand, based on the prompt or on the task that you give it, what it's supposed to do, and from that on, which other agent to call. So it's essentially a multi-agent system where you have one team lead, I'll also say it, that decides
agent.
what it's supposed to do, and then based on that calls the appropriate agents, and these agents then further call different functions. So essentially it's just APIs interacting with each other, but mostly the LLMs are part of these APIs, and they decide which other APIs to call.
And just as an example, like how do we feed knowledge about the whole development process into this? I mean, we mentioned RAG, but for example, that there shouldn't be an input variable with many days of zero span. Like how's that happening?
So these very basic things. Currently, we have those in the prompt. Because that kind of just belongs to the instructions that we're giving the agent. So we're telling it to look for specific kind of red flags, but then we also have functions that specifically check for these red flags and so on and so forth. Then and then we have a little bit more subtle things, like for example, how are you supposed to measure different channels? So for example, let's say for vouchers, you're not supposed to use the entire discount given.
Yeah.
Just from a modeling perspective, you're not supposed to do that. And for that, I've written like years ago. Actually, that was more for LinkedIn than anything else. But I've written how to measure certain channels, articles, and that is way too much for the prompt. So that we kind of infuse via a RAG system, or sometimes we also have different sub agents have different system prompts and so on and so forth. So it depends a bit.
What's RAG system?
RAG is retrieval augmented generation.
Feed more knowledge into an LLM.
In the most basic way, when you give I think the most accessible version of RAG is when you build a custom GPT on ChatGPT. You build a custom GPT and then CSV or PDF or whatever, like other stuff you give it.
Cool. Let's see if we have anything else here to show that. Now we can maybe show this here really quick. So to explain how much in action this is already. Yes, so this is the actual modeler that funnel measurement consultants or measurement clients use if they choose to do the modeling themselves. And what you see here is that the AI modeled graphs are also being integrated as soon as the agents have published those into the solution. So here it's already being used, and again, really interesting work here that the team is doing. Props out to Sheka and the whole team, because I think this will really allow us to service this to a much broader audience.
Exactly.
Cool. Any other questions? I don't have our LinkedIn feed. Maybe some comment popped up there with regards to that, but probably
Didn't check.
Unfortunately,
I just want to say how it looks like from a customer view. I mean, I think this is awesome. I mean, we talked about this weeks ago, and I already said it's great, but I think this is what's really missing, right? Because there's way too many people that need to work with MMMs now and with incrementality and measurement, but way too little people that really understand what they're doing. And so this is you can also call this as a very nice kindergartner that helps them through the process.
Yeah. Never thought about that way, but
that's
instead of team lead data science, you could just say, no, it's not wrong.
And I mean, it's also what I said, right? Usually, I think, I know how the process was. The process was even like this when we did it together ages ago at FreeNow, but there's a lot of back and forth between you and us and you and the customers, like, oh, we have this data, oh, this is not perfect. And you're pretty much cutting out the middleman there, right?
Exactly.
Which is
and
awesome.
And ideally we want the customer to feel and the brand to feel that this is what they own. Like,
exactly.
It's just a piece of software.
They talk to the AI and they realize what they need. They understood why this is missing.
They choose the model they prefer out of 3 or 5 candidate models, or maybe 500, but then it's their process and their
I mean, even if it's the case, if they look at the report card, there's like 6 things written down which they should change. They understand 4 of those. For 2 they have to ask you. That's still 66% time increase, right?
Probably still ask the agent. So
sure.
So cool.
Early days still. Still a lot more to come, obviously.
Yeah, but awesome.
Long way to go.
No, I think it's important to specifically with all this talk about an AI bubble, which we definitely in. But it's also good to explain and show that there are actual really valuable use cases for this. And cool. Then Tim, thanks for joining again. Thanks for the audience to being here. As always, subscribe to our Spotify channel, YouTube where this will be out, LinkedIn, and also comments, etc.
And maybe a quick wish at the end. I think we should do this like more often and do like a
product demo.
And an ongoing slot.
We have, maybe kind of a spoiler. We just gonna launch the data activation feature, which is very much related to what we talked about, not the previous, but the one before
Signal
that.
engineering episode.
Signal engineering. And of course, another AI topic, data chat. So in Funnel, you'll be able to chat with your data based on a conversational AI.
We can probably, since you're a partner, it can probably be enabled for you already.
Yeah, it would be nice. Please,
let's do that.
Give that to me.
And let's do the demo of that next episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
More shameless self plugs here, but
I
mean, it's an interesting stuff.
I just want to see this stuff and want to give my comments about this from the customer perspective.
But we will also have more industry experts on the show and talk about more broader topics. Cool. Then thanks again, and see you all soon. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.